Everest, South Pass, 1725 meters high. In 1924, when George Mallory was asked why he wanted to climb the Everest, he simply answered, "Because it's here." Later, Everest's vanquisher Sir Edmund Hillary picked on neo-alpinists trying to follow his steps, turning Himalayas into the world's highest dump. It took a year in preparation for me to get here. I was able to witness the reality of the modern Himalayism impacting every single Nepalese. Around 9 p.m. one night in the early 2000s, I had a first contact with Kathmandu. As I was strolling in a sleeping city, garbage bags were jumping through windows to land in the middle of the street. Dogs and cows would sort it out first, before men towed what was left further on the street. The whole thing vanished in a polluted dust early in the morning as the city awoke. "60 years ago, Nepal was a kingdom closed to foreigners. In 1951, doors were opened to the first visitors. 5,000 made it to the land of gods in 1962. Today, there are over 272,000. Kathmandu's demographics exploded with the new millennium. The city is now suffocating with garbage, filling the streets more and more. Thamil's neighborhood is a gathering point for Westerners. The next treks and expeditions are prepared in the trendy Nepalese cafes. Small streets are now lit up late at night. Everything is designed to please the tourists bringing money to the country. Nepalese people intend to take part in what we call progress. I saw the city grow, intoxicating and disgusting, captivating and repulsive, welcoming more people every day but not necessarily able to afford it.
La pollution au Népal, pour moi, c'est un sujet très très sensible, très très fort. Katmandou, c'est peut-être une des capitales les plus polluées au monde. Bon, déjà, l'augmentation de la population à Katmandou, puisque ça c'est propre à tous les pays pauvres comme le Népal. Les gens ont tendance à venir se réfugier à la capitale. Donc la population devient de plus en plus importante et la pollution augmente énormément. Donc que ce soit les ordures ménagères, les ordures en général, c'est catastrophique. Et puis j'ai constaté aussi l'augmentation de la pollution de l'air. Les motos, tous les tricycles, tous les moteurs à deux temps sont extrêmement polluants. Plus bien sûr les camions mal réglés qui polluent énormément, les bus, les voitures. Il y a donc une pollution énorme dans l'air à Katmandou. J'ai même connu l'époque, dans les années 70, où des Allemands avaient eu la mauvaise idée pour se faire plaisir et faire plaisir à leurs concitoyens d'avoir des rues propres dans les rues de Katmandou. Donc ils avaient payé des choses pour que les rues soient propres. Et maintenant, eh bien, c'est propre uniquement là où il y a du tourisme. C'est complètement à contresens. Je veux dire, il faut plutôt inciter les Népalais eux-mêmes à avoir envie d'avoir leur ville propre.
The stupa of Bodhnath is registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Third biggest stupa in Asia, it is a major Tibetan pilgrimage site dated to the 14th century. Bodhnath is located on the ancient trading road connecting Lhasa to the Kathmandu Valley. Buddhists turn around the Buddha to elevate the Karma, seeking a benevolent energy to climb one of the 13 steps leading to Nirvana. But some are here seeking help to climb a different kind of step, looking for protection before ascending the Chomolungma, the goddess mother of winds, famously known under the name of Everest.
This spring season, more than 300 climbers have taken permit to climb the Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the identity of Nepal, not only in Nepal. It's the identity of the world for the all the mountaineers. They have desire to climb Mount Everest once in a lifetime. Nepal is a mountains country. We have more than 8 mountains above 8,000 meters. So the mountain is one of the major economic source of the country.
I will join an expedition willing to clean the South Pass of the Everest of its garbage. It is an ambitious task, as we aim to leave nothing on the mountain, nor accumulate more trash in the Kathmandu Valley. A monk friend entrusts me with his mala prayer beads as a sign of protection. I have a meeting at the base camp in 3 weeks. A long journey during which I shall discover the reality of mutating Himalayas. In 1823, a survey team of explorers and geometers uses trigonometry to measure the Peak 15. It is the highest peak in the world. This peak will remain without an official name for a long time, until it is named after its measurer and inventor, Everest. On Tibet's side, the world's rooftop already had a name, Chomolungma, the goddess, mother of all winds. In the 70s, the Nepalese government comes up with another name for the Everest and calls it Sagarmatha, meaning of whom the head touches the sky. The Everest is located on the border between the autonomous region of Tibet and Khumbu, the Sherpa country. The word Sherpa comes from Sher, Tibetan for east, and Pa, meaning the people. These people from the east crossed over the Nangpa La, or Eldest Pass, to settle in a region where the minimum altitude is 4,000 meters. Living a nomadic life, they use the rough trails down the Solokhumbu looking for food. Three centuries later, the English will use the Sherpas as altitude porters to climb Chomolungma. Seasons after seasons, Khumbu thrives on tourism. Villages are built to host more tourists every year, sometimes reminding of the development in the Alps. This economy is organized, but leaves marks.
I work as a mountaineering guide and trekking guide before 1980. I climbed lots of mountains. I'm the third generations who do tourism in Nepal. My grandfather was one of the first Sherpa Sardar who climbed Everest from north side with Iva and Molari. Then second generation was my father, Angtemba Sherpa. He was known as a good Sherpa Sardar. He climbed many peaks. And then I'm the third generations. At our period, we used to throw all the gabaris in the crevasses and in the nature. We do not bring at all down because there is two reasons. One, it is very heavy to carry down and it is a risk, and we thought in the nature it will disappear. But in fact, plastic tins never disappears and it comes up now.
Il y a beaucoup de touristes qui viennent au Népal. Le plus grand nombre de touristes, c'est quand même des gens qui font une escale à Katmandou et qui, pour certains, disent « j'ai fait Katmandou ». Et l'autre tourisme qui est quand même très très important, c'est les trekkers. Et après les expéditions. Mais les trekkers sont plus importants que les expéditions.
The situation on Everest changed totally. In the last 30 years, up to, I would say, middle of the 80s, one expedition in one season on one route. This was the rule. So the Nepali government did not give more permits, so it was very simple. There were certain rules about cleanness on the end to bring down all the garbage, but it was not maybe followed perfectly. Today we have the problem with the number because Nepal and also Tibet, if they open the north side, they give infinite permits. They ask more money, $11,000, $12,000 for one person for one attempt, but the organizers, up to now, especially organizers from the West, from France, from Germany, from England, from New Zealand, from America, they tried to have many, many clients. And for this, there is a huge pressure.
Trekkers now abound in the Khumbu Valley. Tourism dollars feed the Nepalese economy. In a country where the annual income is close to $1,000, tourism represents around 8% of gross domestic product. Nepalese are looking for employment opportunities during trekking season or with the Everest expeditions. A trekking guide gets paid around $400 in Khumbu. A Sherpa guide on the Everest will get up to $6,000 if he manages to join an expedition reaching the summit. With the rising number of delivered permits, Sherpa guide positions are worth it. The trail to the Everest base camp didn't change much since the first expeditions. I have used it dozens of times. I often laid my eyes on these mountains, imagining the paths that would take me to one of these summits. the turn of a pass, these shortens are bringing back the memories of alpinists who lost their lives on Chomolungma. Here, anonymous climbers are resting side by side with the great names of Himalayism. The Everest base camp is near. Getting close to 5,000 meters, hypoxia risks become reality. Here, the oxygen levels are 50% lower than they are by the sea. It is a village of tents, hosting more than 1,500 people during the high season. Life is organized. Everyone has a job to do to help the 370 climbers who obtain an ascending permit this year to achieve their dream.
Le camp de base de l'Everest est à 5300 mètres, sur un glacier empierré, et là s'installe tout le monde. Il y a les palais, les cuisiniers, les porteurs d'altitude, les chefs d'expédition, tous les membres d'expédition, donc ça fait beaucoup de monde. Ils sont là à peu près pour un mois, 4 à 5 semaines. Il y a aussi du passage, il y a quand même des trekkers qui viennent rendre visite au camp de base, donc ça fait aussi des gens de passage qui viennent juste un aller-retour et qui ne restent pas au camp de base. Et là, maintenant, on y trouve plus de 1000 personnes. C'est un village.
Every expedition has 2 cooks and food aides at least. They are joined by high-altitude porters carrying tents, food, and oxygen bottles to the upper camps, located over 6,000 meters. Then comes a minimum of 1 Sherpa guide for every customer. The base camp is a place where customers can get everything they may need, even Wi-Fi service. For $50, one can talk to his relatives on the other side of the world and share a few pictures of his great feats. Meanwhile, the Nepalese are preparing the camp. Garbage management has been existing here for several years. Every expedition collects and sorts out its own trash. Some of them organize cleaning sessions at the altitude camps and regroup to improve their action.
It is not actually very, very dirty like it's mentioned in the media. It's not like what it is reported by a lot of people. Everest is very dirty. It's not actually very dirty. I'm right now managing the Asian trekking expedition on Everest. So we call it Eco Everest because of what we do here. One is we try to collect rubbish on the mountain, and also another is because we also concerned about the human waste on the mountain. So up on the higher camps, especially Camp 1, Camp 2, and higher up there, sometimes after the expedition or during the expedition, people tend to leave a lot of waste behind.
here on Everest, of course, we create rubbish, but we have looked after this environment pretty well, considering that we are expeditions here. For a year like this year, I think there's around about 370 people here. That contributes around about $3 million directly to the ministry of tourism for Nepal. But around it will spend another maybe $10 to $12 million on local infrastructure, on wages, on food, accommodation, helicopters, aeroplanes, bars, restaurants. It has a huge contribution from a small number of people and creates a huge amount of employment for the Sherpa community. So, not so much rubbish, because the SPCC came the other day, but the blue cylinder are lightweight from Camp 2, and the red one, these ones, we've used for cooking, but we take to the white pot, we tip upside down to use all the gas, so they're almost empty, but we just use the very last little bit. So we don't carry gas down. It's expensive up here. And then the rubbish we always pack here and give to the Wyatt and give to the SPC.
All the rubbish we can see now in the glaciers, in the base camps, are before 1980, I can say 1985, 86, not after that. Before 1980, there was no system of garbage deposit, expedition cleaning system. So every expedition and trekking, they go in the mountain and they do not bring all the materials what they use. They throw it in the crevasses in the nature. But after the Ministry of Tourism has made a law that every expedition has to bring their own garbage back to Nepal.
SPCC there is like Sagarma, the Pollution Control Committee. Actually, like we collect all the rubbish from all the lodges from Namche and everywhere, and all the way from like Lukla, above Lukla, and also especially like in the spring, we have a base down in base camp. So make sure the expedition team, they don't leave any pollution in our mountain. So each and every expedition team, they have given like the food list and how much of the pollution things like baggage they brought. So we get all the information. So on the way, at the end, we check each and everyone's garbage. And also our government had made the rules. Each and every climber, they need to bring 8 kilos of garbage above Camp 1.
At the feet of the icefall, along the penitentiaries, the Sherpas from the cleaning expedition I am here to meet are working hard. They are here to collect the ladders, ropes, and objects rejected every day by the glacier. They are waiting for the Puja celebration day to establish the altitude camps and maybe clean them. According to Tibetan Buddhism, the puja is a ritual of offerings for the Sherpas. They pay respects to the goddess by reciting the following mantra: I came to you, love me. As it is the holiest of all mountains, no one should set foot on Chomolungma's head. The wind horses disseminate the mantras. The prayers resonate in the mountains. The ascension can start tomorrow. The weather forecast is looking goop up here. A long acclimatization process now starts. It will take us a month to reach the South Pass, making stops at every intermediary camps. Everything starts with the icefall.
Pour être alpiniste, il faut être un peu fou quand même. L'icefall, c'est vraiment la folie. L'icefall, je l'ai passé plusieurs fois, plusieurs années de suite. Et en 92 ou 93, j'ai décidé de ne jamais remettre les pieds dans cet icefall. Parce que j'ai pris du recul et je me suis dit, mais j'ai été idiot de prendre tant de risques. Les porteurs d'altitude, donc ils sont jeunes en général, mais ils sont dans un truc où ils n'ont pas de formation de base pour vraiment pouvoir se rendre compte éventuellement le danger. Et finalement, ils ont un gagne-pain et on ne leur a pas donné la possibilité, l'éducation, de se remettre en question ou de se poser des questions s'ils ont des clients inconscients qui leur font prendre trop de risques. Non, ils y vont.
icefall doctor has a very good knowledge about the ice condition. Each and every year we have like lots of clamor. I mean, especially like this year we have like 39 permits for Everest, 8 permits for Lhotse, 2 permits for Nuptse. So sometimes like lots of people, they get good comments about the icefall condition. Some of the unexperienced Sherpa, like this is like, it's quite risky. So even not all the ropes, we put like ladders and like all the anchors and everything. So make sure like everyone climbs safely, you know.
The icefall is getting more dangerous. And this is getting more dangerous because it's of global warming. Now, is global warming something natural or not? I don't know. I'm not coming into that argument. But we have global warming. I'm sure human beings are not helping that. So even if it is natural, we're not helping this.
A lot of the waste has already been brought down, and what we have right now is not, especially from 2015, because of the avalanche and earthquake, because we had to abandon all the expedition. There was no way in between Camp 1 and Base Camp, all destroyed. So everybody lived behind everything, and then it was covered in snow, and last year some of them brought down, some not brought down. So this year we also have, that is why we see a lot of, especially, like tents and other things up there, mattresses and stuff.
And it's very easy to pick up rubbish because we've had 2 years where we've had to evacuate from here and we haven't been able to go and tidy up Camp 2. So many existing camps were standing and we couldn't get back to them. So, of course, they lost expensive equipment and it becomes rubbish. So it's easy to go and say, well, Camp 2 is a big mess at the moment. But many teams are recognising that and making efforts to clean the Camp 2 area up.
From last year, repeatedly the Expedition Operators Association have been requesting the government to allow helicopters to fly to Camp 2 to carry all the rope fixing gears. Ropes, ice pickets, ice tools and everything. So if next year, when the helicopter is going up to carrying all the ropes and fixing gears up to Camp 2, we want to bring rubbish down when they're coming down empty.
Every team agree it's time now to carry all of the load, not the people, the load, to Camp 2. When we fly the rope fixing equipment to Camp 2, that saves 87 Sherpa loads through the icefall. So that's 87 Sherpa load of rubbish we can bring back down. It's hard to justify to bring rubbish on a Sherpa through the icefall. He has to put his life at risk. I accept it's garbage, but man's life is more important. I think we have to change the mentality of many people and say, well, because of evolution, we need to change the way that we use the supply chain to get here, and we need to make that safer for the Sherpa. So it's interesting to see some people go, if you use helicopter, that's cheating, but we're exploiting the Sherpa to go through the icefall.
Since the Nepalese authorities realized the importance of collecting the waste in 1995, the base camp has become a cleaner place. The fragile balance that needs to be preserved season after season with the rising number of expeditions. Waste collected from the icefall is sorted out. Metal is separated from incinerable garbage. Everything that can burn will be treated by the SPCC further down in the valley. What is left will get all the way down to Kathmandu.
The rules are very strict today, but who can exactly control it, especially in the high camps? It's a question of the number. I would say generally that cleanness today is better than in the 50s or 60s. But in the sun, Everest is a pollution. It's a huge, huge garbage mountain. Hillary said before dying, Mount Everest is now the highest garbage place on the world. I would not like to say this is wrong or right. It's a fact that so many people are going there. And I think the only thing we can do is to describe it exactly like it is. Saying here we have tourism, and tourists, they need an infrastructure to be brought up, and here is alpinism. The alpinists are going where all the people are not going.
La plupart des gens qui font l'Everest ne sont pas des alpinistes. Ce sont des gens, à mon avis, qui veulent mettre à leur palmarès un pseudo-exploit, parce que c'est surtout un exploit pour eux. Faire l'Everest avec des bouteilles d'oxygène, c'est comme le disait si bien Éric Escoffier, faire l'Everest avec ou sans oxygène, c'est comme si on met des vélos et des mobylettes au départ du Tour de France et que le premier qui arrive a gagné. Maintenant, avec les expéditions commerciales, eh bien, c'est forcément une majorité de gens argentés qui veulent se mettre l'Everest à leur palmarès.
The Sherpas are so good now, they are able by themselves to prepare all the pista, the route up to the summit. And so you can bring also very, I would say, simple mountaineers, hikers to the summit. Because Everest is not so difficult if there is a ladder on each steep place, if there is a bridge on each crevasse, and you have not only good camps with cooks and Sherpas, guides and doctors, if you have enough oxygen from 7,200 meters onwards for each of the climbers, and if a climber has 2-3 Sherpas with him to go to the summit, the chances to go to the summit are quite high, and Everest is the highest mountain of the world. It is a record in itself, so each one can have his own Guinness record climbing Everest.
(7,300 meters of altitude. Here we are, at the doors of the death zone. The atmospheric pressure is dropping. Air is getting rare. Less air, less oxygen. At sea level, blood holds 98% of saturated oxygen. Here, it contains less than 40%. Without an adapted acclimatization process, the mountain sickness, or cerebral edema, can emerge any moment in the 12 to 24 hours following the exposure to altitude. In the death zone, your life's countdown is on. Using oxygen helps to reach the South Pass following a marked trail, minimizing the risks bound to altitude. (7,925 meters. The wind is blowing at almost 100 kilometers per hour. The expeditions that climbed up here today won't be able to attempt further ascension towards the summit.
We have some photos that were taken years and years ago of many oxygen cylinder, but we developed a way to refill oxygen cylinders, and now we reuse those cylinders.
We don't actually have oxygen bottles left on the mountain because they can be sold, because the Sherpas bring down and they get some money The oxygen bottles is not a big problem. It is the other waste that has no value, that is left on the mountain.
It would take 3 persons for 6 days to clean the South Pass. It would require a sufficient stock of oxygen bottles for them to work here without endangering their lives.
Quand je vois encore des images du col sud avec toutes ces tentes, toutes ces bouteilles, toutes ces poubelles qu'il y a au sol, je me sens responsable de ça aussi, une partie. Parce que j'ai presque l'impression de voir les tentes que j'ai utilisées moi-même, qui ont été abandonnées. Donc même si j'ai fait l'Everest sans oxygène et comme ça, eh bien je me sens responsable parce qu'il y a des gens qui m'ont soutenu, qui m'ont accompagné pour les photos, pour les films et tout ça, qui ont utilisé des bouteilles d'oxygène, qui ont laissé leurs bouteilles d'oxygène au col sud et je m'en sens responsable aussi. Ça me motive même à ce jour, par exemple, eh bien, de participer le mieux possible à faire bouger les choses et surtout à sensibiliser le Népal qui prennent en main leur propre pays et que nous, les touristes et les expéditions, eh bien, qu'on nous impose des règles et que tout le monde soit respectueux.
I think we can keep our country very clean. Right now the problem is, all these non-recycled, the plastic bags and a lot of these things that which we cannot recycle. If we burn, it's also toxic to the environment. But we don't have a choice. And I think it's the people should start thinking. If I don't make the place dirty, it's not going to be dirty. We don't need to clean. So the first thing is education and awareness that we should not throw and make our place dirty, litter around. So it should start from me, And if the community work together, our place is clean.
I found many expedition climbers and many Sherpa guides are very honest. So they bring their garbage down and they clean it properly. At the moment, the control is very loose. You will see clearly the liaison officer, which all the expedition paid a lot of money to be at the base camp. They are always not at the base camp. And there is no control. Expedition do whatever they like to do. The control of government and the other NGOs are only on the paper and it is not at the place. They are not at Camp 3, they are not at Camp 4. So if the mountaineers do not bring down, they are there. In my opinion, if Nepal government take good initiation and good control, it is more than efficient.
But here's the problem. The country does not possess any waste management infrastructure. An incinerator existed at 3,500 meters in Namche Bazaar. Here was burned the garbage of old Kombu. It has been inoperative since 2015's earthquake. No institution has yet considered repairing it. Nepal just began reasoning on waste management. The green bags transporting metals are probably being recycled. But what becomes of the rest? The cleaning expeditions are having trouble seeing the missions to their end. Most of the waste from Everest ends up here, near Kathmandu, in a vast dump, polluting every day more the city undergrounds, impacting the most vulnerable. It is a good idea to depollute the Everest, but before starting to run a cleaning campaign, anticipating the arrival and stocking of the waste should be a priority. The filth left at 8,000 meters does not bother alpinists, but weakens entire populations.
Well, there are a lot of Everest cleaning expedition was held before. And they always announced that ton Gabriel was brought in Kathmandu, and eco expeditions and all these cleaning expeditions and all these NGOs who said Everest is very dirty, they are propaganda to promote their business. Well, they do. I cannot say directly that they do not clean. They clean, but most of the project is for their business.
I had the opportunity, Hillary was still alive, the king was still in power in Nepal, to go with Hillary to the king and say, please, be intelligent. You destroy the image of the big mountains if you allow so many expeditions. But he said, there's a lot of money coming. They are paying the royalty. They are giving to the Sherpas work. The Sherpas became very, very strong and also well organized. And now we see that the young Sherpas are taking in the hand the whole business. They are cheaper than the foreign organizers. They are also better than the foreign organizers. And they say, we prepare the route, we put our head in dangerous places, and we would also like to have the income, and not only the work.
Bon, il y a beaucoup d'agences qui, pour se donner bonne conscience, font des actions, saupoudrent un petit peu. Mais là, il faut sortir de ce cadre. Il faut, à mon avis, il faut vraiment une réelle volonté de se retrouver autour d'une table et de vraiment faire quelque chose pour le Népal, qui sera aussi pour eux, pour les clients et tout ça. Donc si ils arrivent à se rendre compte que c'est bien pour la planète et pour le Népal de vraiment aider le Népal à se reprendre en main, mais pas les assister, mais les inciter à se prendre en main.
The dynamics of the new generation will influence decision-making in Nepal. The government could allow big companies to operate in a pragmatical way to valorize waste.
I've been working in the environment sector since I was small. I know the risk of the pollution later, because right now it might not seem much, but after quite few years, we are the ones that are going to be facing them. I do my best, so I think I give my whole part into it, and I think I'm not the only one. There will be a lot of people who are like, I should do that. So you don't need a lot of crowd to be more optimistic, a very motivated, optimistic. A single person can do as much as a 10 person. So how you do it is I don't do it by myself. I make other optimistic too.